Hi, it's Tracey Campbell here with another Colour Blast design team demonstration. What I'm going to show you today are some ways to use the Colour Blast colour spray, the Colour Blast colour embossing powder and the Colour Blast colour paste. First up, I grabbed some American craft thickers and just picked out a few of the letters. I'm going to trace around these to give myself a template for a title. I'm not actually going to show you how I traced around them all the time. I'm going to cut and edit the film just so you can see me doing it quickly. And I've actually repeated the word and added an I 3 times, and this is going to be my main title for my page. Okay, this is a masking fluid. It's a artist medium that you actually just paint on. You leave it dry overnight, and once it's set, it actually is really easy to peel off. So it's great for masking out or blocking out the white underneath if you want white to show through when you're using any mixed media, whether it be sprays, pastes, inks, paint, anything like that. It's a really good tool and fun to use. What I'm going to do now, this is my background cardstock, and I'm going to just quickly emboss a few little hearts on there. So I've just used a embossing ink pad, and I'm using the Colour Blast Stormy Weather embossing powder. Just putting them on the paper with the embossing ink, a bit of a sprinkle of the embossing powder over top. I am going to put about 5 of the hearts on there, so I'm doing them all at once. And the Colour Blast embossing powder is a really good embossing powder. It's actually got a lot of colour in it, and it picks the colour up. You'll be able to see all the colour in it when I actually tip the rest of the embossing powder off the page. It's a lot of the colour residue remains on the paper, but it's quite easy when you're using your hot tool gun or your heat gun on it. It actually blows the rest of the remaining colour off. And it's real good quality. The embossing granules that set to the heat later on are really quite thick and strong, and they leave a nice raised surface. And that's what I mean by the colour, or the colour in the embossing powder. It leaves quite a good amount there. Perfect for adding lots of colour and texture to your layouts. Just going to get rid of a bit of the excess colour and embossing powder that was left. I like to save as much as I can. I don't like to waste products, so I'll pop this back into the little pot. And the pots are actually quite a cute little pot. They're quite the right size and have the perfect amount in there, but they're the perfect size for when you are tipping off your excess and back into the pot. It's got a wide enough lid on it. And I'm just hitting the embossing powder now with the heat gun. Now my heat gun takes a little while to get warm. It's an old one, so just cut the way, but you just use it and heat it up, and once the embossing powder changes in colour, it's actually ready and you can stop doing it. What I'm doing now, I'm creating a paste because I just don't have the perfect pink colour that I needed for this layer. So what I've done is just use some iridescent medium and put in some of the Colour Blast colour spray in bubblegum colour. And I love using this Colour Blast spray because you can use it as a lighter colour, or you can add a bit more colour to it to give it a really vibrant hue to the tones of the colour. And what I'm going to do now, I've got some wood veneer hearts there, and I'm going to actually put them onto the hearts, and it creates a nice glossy look with a lovely shade of pink on it. And just painting it straight on. And I'm putting it on quite thick because the Colour Blast spray with the iridescent medium actually sets really quite nice, and if you put it on thick it gives a really glossy coat and it sets quite flat, like it smooths out the surface. Just deciding which hearts I'm going to paint, if I'm going to paint all of them or just a couple. And I have decided at this stage that I'm just going to do the 2 pink hearts, as I'm thinking of using another contrasting colour. Okay, there's the background that I'm working with, and what I'm going to do now, I'm going to actually use some more of the iridescent medium and with the colour, the bubblegum in it, and I'm going to paint some of my embossed hearts. I don't want it to look neat and tidy, I want it a little bit messy, so I'm going straight over the top. Now the iridescent medium is an opaque colour, but it does give a little bit of a dullness to the embossing. So what I'm doing here is just using a baby wipe and carefully wiping away some of the iridescent medium from the embossed surface. Okay, I'm bringing back the title now. It's now the next day and it's set hard overnight. I'm just using the iridescent medium with the bubblegum through it and roughly painting over the top of the masking fluid. I'm actually going to use the title as a matte also for my photo, so I've painted a bit more on the left hand side. And picking it up so you can have a look. Now once again I've set that aside and I'll leave that to dry. Now I've gone back to my veneer hearts, and this time I'm using the Colour Blast colour paste in just blue, and I'm simply just smearing it on the on the wood veneer. And once again, it's a really thick paste, fantastic with colour, really quite glossy when it does dry. And once again, the surface that you put on, and if you get it smooth, it turns out like a smooth, almost looks like a puppy sticker. And going for my embossed second heart. It can be a little bit fiddly, but if you take your time and get the surface of the colour paste right while it's while it's wet, and wait for it to dry, it turns out perfectly. Okay, so I want to add some more colour to my embossed hearts, the 3 remaining ones that I didn't do in the pink. So I am using some of the Colour Blast colour spray in the Caribbean colour, and I'm simply just dipping in my paintbrush and I'm going to paint over the top. The embossed surface causes a resist with the Colour Blast spray, so the embossing will shine through. You don't have to wipe it off like I did with the iridescent medium. And now I'm just using the Colour Blast colour spray in road base to add some splashes and dribs and drabs over the top. Just simply unscrewing and flicking over. Now here is the title piece all dry, and with the masking fluid what you do is just simply use your finger and rub it off, and it completely rubs off and it goes straight back to the cardstock underneath. It peels off quite easy, as you can see. Now I've cut down the title cardboard, as you can see, and I've matted my photo onto it, and then I've added it to the base of my layout. I'm just going to go through and embellish using some washi tape and putting on the hearts and then the title. Trying to decide if I'm going to go with the lighter floral or the darker floral here. And the darker floral wins out. stripping some of the washi tape a little bit off because I didn't want such a straight cut edge, so I tore a little bit so it looks like it's got a long running tear in it, and then position it down in the bottom corner, tuck the excess behind, just helps to keep it and anchor it all in place. Running the floral, and once again I didn't want such a quick square finish, so tore a little bit off the end. Gives it just a subtle softness to the page. Bringing the veneer hearts back, and as you can see they're nice and dry now, and a little bit more darker colour to the colour paste, which is really quite nice. The colour paste when it goes on is a lighter colour, almost a pastel colour, but when it dries it has this deep emphasis colour. It goes darker. It's really wonderful how it does it. So my advice is to test it out and have a bit dry so you can actually see what the finished colour looks like. Just using my little distress stapler to staple it on, deciding where I'm going to put the other ones, and at this stage I think I'm going to actually put the title on so that way I can finish off the embellishment without having any putting it out of place. This is one of the clear stickers. Now I always have difficulty with my titles, so I like to cut out things and move them around a little bit before I anchor them down. So that's why I've just cut around the back for the sticker. So if I do need to move it, I can. It was originally going to be just called Love Our Cute Cute Cutie, but then I decided that I wanted a bit of a longer title, so I went back and chose a few extra thickers and had a bit of a play. Now I do have issues with these stickers and them not sticking using just the sticker part that comes with the sheets. I actually go through and I use some dimensional magic or some sort of glue to secure them to the page, because I have many layouts where they've just literally fallen off the page after a couple of months and they're in the bottom of the protector sheets. So now I do make sure I do anchor them with extra glue. I'm just going to go through and adhere everything down. Now, even though I've used the embossing powder or the embossing hearts underneath, I wanted to make sure that it was the photo and the title that stood out and not the background in this case, so that's why I've run some of the title over the embossed heart. And that is the title all secure now, so now I'm going to go through and finish off my layout with a little bit of embellishments. I've gone back to using the clear stickers, they're Kaiser stickers, Kaisercraft or Kaisercraft, and they're quite versatile and very nice to use. I'm just having a play, seeing where I think everything looks well. Now I'm going ahead and stapling that heart because the stapler won't reach into the middle of the page where I decided to put it. So I'm just going to anchor it down with a little bit of double-sided sticky tape, but I wanted the staple on it to make the hearts all look the same. Let's finish off the layout with some more splatters from the Colour Blast colour spray. Just to tie in the title area back into the background and to make it all look a bit consistent. And that is it. The layout is finished. Now I hope you enjoyed this presentation. I have used some of the Colour Blast colour spray in a few different ways, and I hope you get something out of it. Thank you. See you next time.